Hello everybody and welcome back to another day with tea. If you're not subscribed yet already, now is a good time to do it. Now let's get into the video. Today I'm going to be doing something that some of you are going to probably be kind of disappointed about, and the reason I'm pointing out this tank is because the plan is to move these Tropheus bemba out into the 180-gallon aquarium that is out here in the main basement area that the electric eel was in. Joey moved him out of here last night, so I would like to get them moved into here while the system is still cycled. We tossed some shrimp in for the tank to stay cycled as well last night because we weren't sure if it would be happening today or tomorrow or the next day, but that would make sure that the tank stays cycled. There's also a handful of, well, more than a handful of cherry shrimp that got brought into this tank from the floating plants. There's up to at least, I think the most I've counted at once is 16. There's one swimming around. Can't focus on him because he's so small, but he's on a little mission. Anyways, I'm also going to be adding the floating plants that are currently in the Tropheus tank to this tank, as well as their lace rock, the scape that everybody loves, including myself, so much. But because this tank is so big, that rock is definitely not going to be enough to fill this tank. So I'm thinking eventually we're probably going to have to go back to one of the fish stores in order to collect some more of that lace rock, or end up using completely different rock or something. I'm going to have Joey come down after I get things going here to help me figure something out to start them off with for this tank. I'm just going to leave these cherry shrimp that are in here because I just don't see me being able to collect them really out of this large of a tank, and them being so small. But I am going to be removing these pieces of shrimp that were just set in here. So I'm going to start draining this tank in order to be able to collect the rock as well as the fish eventually at the end. And then I'm going to also scoop out these floating plants. And in order to keep this tank cycled before I find something new to stock this tank with, I'm going to put the angels that I have in this 15 over into there. So let's get started. Alright, so we also want to remember to unplug our filter as well as our heater while we're draining the tank so that we don't run the filter dry and we don't start a fire with the heater being not submerged in water. Also want to remember to plug those back in afterwards if you're just doing a water change. I'm thinking that I'm going to have to drain this quite low, and also probably we're going to have to remove the background at least temporarily because some of the Tropheus do get back behind the background there. But I'm just going to start draining it and then removing the plants, then the rocks, and then lastly the fish.
The rocks can be done now.
I did end up catching some of the cherry shrimp in on the shrimp while I was removing that, so I'm going to add them back into their tank. On the shrimp, and I'll add them back to the cherry shrimp tank as well. Alright, so that's that, and that's that. So we're gonna get started with this right away. So it looks like we're gonna end up going with these rocks instead of the rocks they had in their other aquarium because these ones match the background better and look more like Lake Tanganyika, which are where the Tropheus are from.
Yeah, because if you look, that would be, it's more smooth stone than anything. Mm-hmm. But they're all tightly close together. So if we get as many as we can with this and kind of pack them in there, because look at this rock. Like, it's going to look super cool with rocks that are like almost 60% of the height. Mm-hmm. But I have more. Some of these are like dirty because they were stored outside. And some of them were squished in hot water is going to not only clean them, but get them to retain their shape again. That's one of the things I like about them, is like you could roll these up and store them away. They take up next to no space, but once they touch a little bit of hot water, they go from being squished to retaining their original shape.
Rejuvenating the rocks.
So after I took everything out of the tank originally, moved the substrate around, obviously it got a little cloudy, so a big water change just for clarity purposes. But we know the scape is 6 feet by 2 feet, so we're going to do a bit of a mock-up outside, and the goal here is just to make sure that they're kind of touching and connecting and interlocking with each other. Starting with the biggest ones. We don't need it to go across the entire surface, but like a nice kind of pile, taking up maybe 50% would be ideal. The downside is no matter how well you prepare the scape, it's never going to go back in the tank just the same. We're just getting an idea, but we have a tremendous amount of rocks, and we should be able to come up with something incredibly cool. And if you look, the fish will be able to hide and swim all throughout the crevices, just like in the wild. So for the most natural look, biggest rocks in the back. Try not to make them all the same size. You'll notice like this one's up here, but that one back there is relatively smaller. But looking at it, you can still see it. So it's not going to look like a void space. Not always are rocks, you know, always smallest to biggest, but then you take these little ones. These ones are like filler rocks, where you kind of just jam it in somewhere, and it just makes it look way better. Things like that. And boom, something like that can work in this tank. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this rock being there. I think I might do this instead. If I do that, these gotta be moved around. Maybe something closer to that, I don't know. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if there's enough space front to back here.
Oh yeah, with the background.
Yeah. So I might make this I might make it a little longer once it's in there, and a little bit more, you know, kind of spaced out. But once you start getting into that, just to fill the scape in, then you get into something that literally looks too symmetrical. Like rock, 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 rock. That's all I see.
Like if I did it.
Like if you did it. No. You're pretty good. I'm just better. Okay, we can start filling. These are hollow, so if I put them in and they're still a little bit above, the top of this is going to be filled with water, and they'll just start sinking or floating.
So far it's looking pretty good. I love the 2 little shrimp that I couldn't catch just swimming around in the 180-gallon tank. That's funny.
Cover it all up.
Flickety flick flick flick.
That is probably one of the best Tropheus aquariums ever created, in my opinion. And I'm doing it blindly with rocks that can't be stacked, because they're all hollow. But there are some of the rocks that some of the fish can get in and get out of. And there's countless crevices and like little cave systems and whatnot. But again, if we look at something like Lake Tanganyika, those are Calvus swimming over it, but still. That's kind of what you want to do. But depending on where in Lake Tanganyika you're looking.
I'm excited to see them in here.
There's a type of Tropheus.
Oh, that's pretty. Is that an adult?
Yep. He's around stones like that. So what they're going to be able to dart and get in and out wherever they want, but for the most part, the scape is made to keep them mid-level, because they'll feel safest on top of the rocks. But you're going to have more Tropheus swimming in here than you did in the last tank. It'll seem that way anyways. So once this tank is done filling, we can turn on all the equipment and move them over. hopefully by then it'll clear up a bit. Yeah, I like it. Looks really good.
And Luke is just the best boy. Just likes to hang out wherever his parents are.
The goldfish tank is perfect, right?
Yeah.
Man, do they ever look good?
Yeah. Those are 3 of the smaller guys.
Ooh, damn, so beautiful. You know what it is? The heater's in my way. That's what it is. So we can corral them too with a big net and a little net. Two. Oh wait, how many did we get so far?
I don't know.
I don't want to be able to count them so we know how many you have still. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. They stay still for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wish I could see what I was doing. I remember one time, for a joke, I had Rachel O'Leary try to catch rainbow fish out of 375, which I already knew was impossible to do.
How many?
2 more.
9, 10.
So she sat there for like 35, 45 minutes, and I was like, you're never going to catch even one. 375 gallons of fish that were like this size.
No, I would never. Like, I had the worst. The worst time I had was with the Cooley loaches in the 15-gallon tank. Oh, those guys are going crazy.
How many's in here?
How many?
3.
13.
Man, look at the color on these guys.
Beautiful.
So that's 13. 14, 15, 16.
You're so good with the fish.
Hmm?
You're so good with the fish. It's like, this is what you do.
Well, a lot of people be like, oh, they're slime coat, and like handling them briefly like that is a little bit safer than dumping them out of the net and risking them getting their fins caught or whatever. How many is that so far?
16.
16?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That sounds familiar. 17, 18, 19, 20.
20.
I'll be pretty surprised if you still have even close to 30. Oh, man. I got a nice little batch here.
Oh, good.
There's 4 of them.
20.
Different sizes, too.
24.
Yep, 24. 27.
28, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's all there were in the first place. Because
Yeah.
I don't think at the store they could count them properly.
How many did you think you had? 30?
31 or 33. And I feel like I would have known if that many died.
Well, they could get stuck in the crevice of a rock or die and then the other fish eat them.
Oh.
But, like, eat their bodies or whatever. But for you to have that many, because trophies are not easy to keep. Trophies are one of the most difficult fish in the hobby. They're slept on in terms of difficulty. And to have as small as you did, and now they're as big as they are, it's pretty impressive.
He's so cuddly.
So it kind of sucks that this isn't cleared up yet, but it's almost better that it isn't, because in a couple of days... Oh, this is a lot at once. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Woo! I want to do one. I want to do one.
I don't know if there is anymore.
Oh. Look how pretty they are.
Yeah. Right to the bottom they go. As they get comfortable in the tank, of course, they'll swim all amongst the rocks and whatnot, but this is like literally the perfect aquarium for them. People might say, well, how will you clean it? They're not that messy in the first place. But obviously, if you got to pick up a rock, they weigh like a couple grams.
Everyone needs to go find each other now.
Oh, is there any more in there? I think one was in the shadows.
No.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah, he's right there. Here,
Oh.
hold. They go to the shadows immediately. When fish feel in danger, they don't go in the sunlight.
Should I try myself?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Go find your family. Oh, he found a buddy. Thanks for your help.
Look. What you doing with your sister?
I'm just going to bring the angels and the plants that are being held in the 15-gallon and add them into the 70-gallon that the Tropheus were just in. Alright, so this 180-gallon tank that the Tropheus are now in has cleared up a little bit more, but not completely quite yet. And they are doing what Joey said. They're just sort of in and around that middle area, going in and through and weaving in and out of the rocks. They are a little bit shy when I come over right now, but I suspect once I start coming over and feeding them, they will not be as shy when I come around.
What? What? What are you talking about? Oh, you have a lot to say. You do. Woney.
They're sticking mostly in this left corner right now. I'm observing them from afar so I don't scare them off. They have so much tank to explore. A couple over here. I don't know if I caught them in time. There's one. Don't they look pretty? Slight bit of cloudiness still, but that should clear up by tomorrow. Alright guys, it's the next day. Tank has cleared up. It looks so good, and the Tropheus are enjoying it so much. Most of them are hanging out in the middle here, in between the cracks in the rocks, and they're having such a fun time exploring their new home. All kinds of places for them to swim in and out of. Look how gorgeous they are. The ones changing color especially. Look at all their heads coming out of the rock. Now I just need to fill up the tanks, but thank you again for joining me on another day with tea. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it, leave me a comment, and subscribe if you're not yet already, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for being here. Bye guys.